Hey everyone, Andy here with Twisted Finances. In today's video, we are going to talk about what a 401k is and how they work. I will also be covering how 401k contributions work, the different types of 401ks, how much you should contribute into a 401k, and also how withdrawals of a 401k work. So be sure to watch the entire video so you know the ins and outs of the most important retirement vehicle that you have at your disposal. So a 401k plan is a tax advantage retirement plan, also known as a defined contribution retirement plan, that is offered by most employers in the United States. You as an employee can elect to have your contributions automatically taken out of your check, either pre-tax or post-tax, and most times your employer will actually match your contribution up to a certain limit. The investment earnings from the pre-tax 401k, which is also known as a traditional 401k, are not taxed until you withdraw that money in retirement. And the investment earnings on a post-tax 401k, also known as a Roth 401k, are tax-free earned even through retirement because you already paid the tax on the money when you contributed. So like I mentioned before, there are two different types of 401ks. You either have a traditional or a Roth 401k. The main difference between the two is just how they're taxed. And we'll go more in depth between traditional and Roth 401ks a little later in this video. I just wanted to kind of cover it real quick. And whether your employer actually provides a Roth 401k is really different between all employers. Roth 401ks are seeing an increased amount of availability with employers. So they are becoming more known, but there are still a lot of employers that just only provide traditional 401ks, which is fine. It's still good. So now that you know really kind of what 401ks are and kind of how they work, let's kind of look at the laws, regulations, and the contribution strategies. So the IRS sets a specific limit on the amount that you can contribute into your 401k. For 2021, the 401k contribution limit for anybody under 50 is $19,500. For employees that are older than 50, the contribution limit is $26,000 because the IRS allows what they call a catch-up. Basically, since you're getting closer to retirement, you're allowed to fund more in your retirement because you probably need to. In the last few decades, 401ks have really just blossomed and become this powerhouse and really the most important retirement vehicle that Americans have. Back in the day, we used to have, well, I say we, but they used to have traditional pension plans, also known as defined benefit plans, where the employer was basically solely responsible for contributing into this plan and making sure that once their employees retired, then they would have amount of money coming in for X amount of years. Then in came the absolute turbulation of 2008 and the market crash, and businesses went bankrupt, pension plans went bankrupt, and there were hundreds of thousands of people that were left on the street with no job, no pension, because it was mismanaged. And it was a great idea ran by idiots and just so many people over. So pension plans are really hard to come by if you're a non-government employee. So this means that the duty of preparing for retirement has fallen back on the employee. So this is something that you really need to understand so that you can live at least a decent retirement or sustain the same cost of living in your retirement. You have to understand these things. If you don't, then you're But not only are employees responsible for setting aside the money for contributing into their 401k, they're also responsible for picking out the investments in their 401k. Now, most employers' 401k administrators will give you some financial advice, or they might have a specific plan that they suggest to all their employees to invest in. I kind of prefer to choose my own investing because I feel like I have more control over it and I don't want to take somebody else's word on what I should invest and not invest. And this is really an area where you can just make your 401k shine. If you're young, you should especially just throw all of your money into high aggressive growth funds that have low expense ratio. You've got so many years before you use this money. If it tanks, it tanks. It'll go back up and you're fine. And I know choosing different investment vehicles inside of your 401k and understanding 401ks, it's confusing, man. Like, I went to school, I got a degree in accounting and finance, and when I first set up my own 401k, I was like, dude, what the is all this? Like, why don't they teach this stuff throughout our lives? It's so important. It blows my mind, but that's for a different day. To not overwhelm you with all of the things that go behind your 401k, the best practice is just to look at your 401k available investments and then look at the 5 to 10 year performance along with the expense ratios, and you can kind of pick and choose the best performing ETFs or investment vehicles inside of your 401k. At the end of the day, you're going to have to do a lot of research, but I'm telling you, this research is a must because it can make a difference of tens, maybe even $100,000s of dollars by the time you retire. So now that you kind of know how contributions work with a 401k, so how much should you contribute into your 401k? A lot of people get this mixed up and think that they should just contribute 15%, 20% of their pre-tax dollars into a 401k. That's really not the best option to do. This is not financial advice. However, it is a financial advisory standard and something that I do in my own personal life. Only contribute up to what your employer matches. So if your employer matches up to 5%, contribute 5%. If your employer matches up to $5,000, contribute $5,000. That's free money. That's literally additional salary that you're getting paid just for contributing into the 401k. Free money, take that shit and run. Now you might be asking me, why don't you contribute more into a 401k? Well, honestly, I think that the money is best used in a IRA, specifically a Roth IRA. There are more options that you have with an IRA than you do with a 401k because a 401k only has a specific listed amount of investments. IRA has a whole stock market at your disposal. So I just think it's better, and I think it's more beneficial by the time that you retire if you have more money in an IRA than a 401k, especially a Roth IRA. That's me personally. Once again, not financial advice, just what I do personally. It works for me. I think it's a great idea. You might not think it's a great idea. You might want to contribute more in your 401k. That's fine. I'm just here to give you the facts and let you know how the shit works. Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying this video or if it's provided any value to you or answered any of your questions, I'd really appreciate if you just absolutely annihilated that like button. And go ahead, if you want to, you can subscribe. We put out weekly financial content. We are trying to increase the financial literacy and help people be financially secure. That is our only goal here, is to help substitute the lack of education that our failing system has given us. Once again, I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's get back to the video. Okay, so now let's talk about the two different types of 401ks, traditional 401k and the Roth 401k. And like I said earlier, the only difference between the two is how they are taxed. Traditional 401ks are used with pre-tax dollars. So you're not going to get taxed on the amount in that account until you withdraw it in retirement. The traditional 401k is best for somebody that is in a high tax bracket right now and predicts that they're going to be in a lower tax bracket by retirement. So for example, if they're 40% tax bracket right now, they're saving 40% on the contribution. And then in retirement, if they think they're going to be in the 20% tax bracket, then they're effectively saving 20% in taxes. Traditional 401ks are the best option for high income employees because they reduce your taxable income. On the other hand, Roth 401ks are invested with post-tax dollars. And Roth 401ks are the best option if you think that you will be in a higher tax bracket come retirement. Because by the time you retire, everything in your 401k, every single dividend you received, every single capital appreciation is completely tax-free. Completely tax-free. And I know a lot of people don't like me saying tax-free because it's funded with post-tax dollars, you pay tax on it. Well, if I'm in a 10% tax bracket, and so I'm paying 10% on my contribution, and then when I retire, I'm in a 40% tax bracket, like it nets out. It's tax-free. Like, stop being so anal about it. But aside from my rant, I do apologize. Roth 401ks are the best for particularly younger professionals that are just now starting out. They're in a low tax bracket because they're in the entry-level jobs. So they're probably already generating a refund on their tax return, so there's really no reason why they should decrease their earned income anymore. They should just invest it. So now that we basically know everything that you need to know about 401ks and all of the beautiful, pretty grass is greener on the other side things, let's look at the shit that sucks with 401ks, and that's the withdrawal laws for 401k plans. Now, most people aren't going to touch their 401k until retirement, but there are some people, and I've actually withdrew amount from my 401k this year just because I have certain tax credits lined up and I've been generating a refund for the past 5 or 6 years. So the penalty and all the taxes, which we'll cover, it's not a worry to me. But anyway, let's cover withdrawals on the Roth 401k first. So with a Roth 401k, you are allowed to withdraw up to the amount that you've contributed into the account without incurring any tax or penalty. So let's say that your Roth 401k, you've contributed into it $10,000, and the balance from dividends or capital appreciation is $12,000. You can take out up to $10,000, but you cannot touch the extra $2,000. If you were to take out the entire $12,000, then you are therefore going to be penalized 10% on the extra $2,000, which would incur a $200 early withdrawal penalty. On the other hand, we have traditional 401ks, and they are a different type of beast when it comes to withdrawal. The early withdrawal penalty is the same as a Roth 401k, the 10% penalty. However, since it is funded with pre-tax dollars, any amount that is withdrawn from that account, you must pay taxes. So let's take the example that we used before with a traditional 401k balance of $12,000. If you were to withdraw the entire amount, you would incur a 10% penalty on the whole $12,000, which is $1,200. And upon withdrawal, the 401k administrator, whether it's Fidelity or John Hancock, is required to withhold 20% for federal withholding on the entire amount. So if your balance is $12,000 in a traditional 401k and you withdrew all of it, you would only actually receive $9,600 because $2,400 is going to be withheld for federal taxes. And then come tax time, you will be levied an additional 10% penalty, the $1,200 on your early withdrawal. So in total, it's about $3,600 on $12,000 that you will have to pay for your early withdrawal. I know, taxes. If you didn't know, I'm actually a tax reduction advisor, and I kind of know this stuff because I deal with it all the time. So if you have any specific questions in terms of taxes, let me know down in the comments and I'll be able to clear those bad boys up, because it can get kind of confusing and a little sticky sometimes. But the best advice that I can give to you if you're contemplating withdrawing from your 401k is to make sure that you have some credits lined up, or your income is low, maybe like child tax credit, education credits, anything like that that can help cover your ass come April 15th so you don't have to pay more. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching the video. I really do hope you enjoyed it. I hope it provided value. I hope it answered any questions. Like I said before, any additional questions or specific questions that you may have, just let me know down in the comments. I'll bang them out. I'll help you out. That's what we're all here for. Don't forget to smack that like button right on the ass, and don't forget to subscribe if you're interested in having weekly financial content that can help boost your financial literacy to make you one step closer to financial freedom. Thank you guys again so much. I'll catch you next time.